Good morning, real life kids and youth. My name's Katie, and this morning I'll be taking us through week 3 of our series, Hope is Alive. Can you remember the signs? Why don't you do them with me? Hope is alive. Brilliant, great work. So today we're going to be looking at the character Joseph in the Bible. But before we get on to that, shall we play a game? This morning I thought we'd play a game which is kind of like a scavenger multicoloured clothing hunt. So what I want you to do is your adult who's with you, or your brother or sister you can play this with, they need to shout out a colour. And you have to go and find an item of clothing or an accessory like a hat or glove and put it on. And then once you've done that, they shout another colour and you have to go and find another item of clothing or accessory and put it on top. Keep going to see how many items of clothing you can wear and how many colours you have. Here's me playing it with Sophie and Lucia. Okay girls, are you ready to play multicoloured clothing scavenger hunt?
Yeah.
Okay, off we go. The first colour is grey. Well done everyone, I hope you had fun. We'd love to see photos of you in your layers of multicoloured clothing. So if you'd like to, why don't you send a photo to Melanie, or you can put it on our Facebook page or Instagram page, and we're using the hashtag #RealLifeHopeIsAlive. Okay, so now we're going to hear our Bible story. You can find the story in the book of Genesis from chapter 37 onwards. Today we're going to be reading from the Jesus Storybook Bible, and that starts on page 77. So if you have it at home, you can read along.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'll be reading the story of Joseph today. Jacob had 12 sons, but of all his sons, Joseph was his favourite. One day, Jacob gave Joseph a splendid new robe. It was beautiful and rich with all the colours of the rainbow. It made Joseph's brothers very jealous. They wanted rich rainbow robes too. Then, to make matters worse, Joseph kept on having these special dreams. I dreamt I was the greatest. I was king, Joseph told his brothers, and all you bow down to me. Now, I'm sure you know, even if Joseph didn't, that telling your brothers things like that isn't a very good idea. Joseph's brothers hated him even more. They wanted to kill Joseph and his dreams. And one day, that's exactly what they tried to do. They tore Joseph's rainbow robe off him and they sold him to slave traders for 20 pieces of silver. The traders took Joseph to Egypt and made him into a slave. The brothers went home and they lied to their father, telling him that Joseph was dead. That's the end of that dreamer, they thought. But they were wrong. God had a magnificent dream for Joseph's life, and even when it looked like everything had gone wrong, God would use it all to help make his dream come true. God would use everything that was happening to Joseph to do something good. Meanwhile, though, things were not looking good for Joseph in Egypt. He was far from home and far from his dad. Then he got blamed for something that he didn't do. And even though he'd done nothing wrong, he was punished and thrown in jail. But God had not left Joseph. One night, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, had a scary dream about thin cows gobbling up fat cows. What on earth did it mean? He didn't know. So Joseph was a dream expert, and Pharaoh brought for him. It means a famine is coming, Joseph explained. There won't be enough food. Pharaoh was so pleased that Joseph had this skill that he immediately took Joseph out of jail and made him a prince. Now back home, Joseph's brothers had run out of food and everyone was hungry. God's special family was in danger, and if they didn't get food soon, they would starve to death. So Joseph's brothers travelled to Egypt to buy food. They came and they knelt before the new prince. His brothers didn't know that the prince was Joseph, but Joseph knew who they were. Joseph's dream, the one about his brothers bowing down to him, was coming true. "It's me!" Joseph cried. When they saw it was Joseph, his brothers were afraid. They had wronged Joseph and they had sinned, and they knew it. Now Joseph would certainly punish them. But Joseph looked at his brothers and his eyes filled with tears. Even though his brothers had hurt him and had hated him and wanted him dead, in spite of everything, he couldn't stop loving them. His heart, which they had broken, filled up with love, and Joseph forgave them. Joseph threw his arms round them. "Don't be afraid," he said. Behind what you were doing, underneath everything that was happening, God was still doing something good. God was making everything right again. Joseph didn't punish them, he rescued them. He brought God's special family to live safely with him in Egypt. One day, God would send another prince, a young prince whose heart would break. Like Joseph, he would leave his home and his father. His brothers would hate him and want him dead. He would be sold for pieces of silver. He would be punished even though he had done nothing wrong. But God would use everything that happened to this young prince, even the bad things, to do something good, to forgive the sins of the whole world.
Thank you, Sarah. So Joseph's circumstances were really difficult, weren't they? He wasn't liked by his brothers. They wanted him gone. He was sold into slavery, sent to a foreign land. He was accused of something he didn't do and got thrown into jail. These things didn't happen quickly either. For a long time, Joseph suffered. What we learn about Joseph in this story is that he remained faithful to God and trusted him. Joseph held on. He could have seen his situation as hopeless, but even during difficult times, he continued being hard-working, kind, humble, and trusted God to make things good again. The Bible tells us several times that the Lord was with Joseph, and he's with us too. God never leaves us, and we can always rely on him to help us. We can hold on to him just like Joseph did. God will always bring good out of our tricky situations. Now, if you go back to the story, you will see that there are similarities between Joseph and Jesus. Jesus too was hugely loved by his Father. He was given promises about being great. He was rejected just like Joseph and accused of things that he didn't do. But where Joseph saved a nation, Jesus came to save everyone, and it's that hope that we hold on to. Hope is alive because he is alive. Keeping hope alive. This week's challenge is centred around music. God can use music really powerfully, and in our house we listen to music, dance around to music, or play music. We use it to feel energised if we're feeling tired. We use it to lift us up if we're feeling low, and we use it to calm us down if we're feeling cross or frustrated. So this week's challenge is to spend some time listening to music. It doesn't have to be worship music, it can be any kind of music. You can even make your own music if you have an instrument, or if you don't have an instrument, you can make one yourself. A simple way is to get some saucepans, turn them upside down, and use your wooden spoons to make lots of noise. or you could get an empty water bottle and fill it with rice or dried lentils to make a really great percussion instrument. So that's your challenge this week. Listen to some music, make some music, and I think it will put a smile on your face. Thanks for listening. Bye.